All right. Hey, Eric Eisenblatt, Grateful Chef here, live once again. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the Grateful Chef and another great live cooking demonstration, video, whatever you want to call it, session, show, all those apply. Welcome, so glad you guys are joining me right now. I'm just grinding some spices for some olives that we're going to spice up. And today's theme is holiday snack ideas. I got a couple of good ones. We're going to do a really cool, elegant cheese board. People love cheese. I know I do. There's lots of things you can do, so we're going to kind of talk about that a little bit. I just want to finish grinding these, so bear with me. And I'll explain exactly what I'm doing this for. In about a minute, we're going to give people some time to join in. Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
Everybody loves the sound.
Everybody loves the grinding sound. Put this over here. Excellent. So I hope everybody had a great week. Boy, I'll tell you, last week, showstopper, the beef Wellington, was fun to do. I hope you guys got a lot out of it. I got a lot of great comments on it. Hopefully I answered all your questions. I learned some things from some people that have done it before, and well, I'll tell you, we ate off that all week. We had 3 of them. So it was really good, reheated really well, so I couldn't be more pleased. So we're going to get right to the task at hand here. First thing that I want to do, one of the things that we are doing is a sweet and salty fried cashews. So we're going to get right to that one, because they have to kind of marinate for like 30 minutes. Tonight, if we go 20, that's okay. It's not a big deal. So what I have here is 6 cups. These are raw cashews. So these have not been toasted. They're white, raw. I find, and I want to encourage you to find your ethnic markets in the neighborhood where you live. Find where they are, get to know them. They are great sources for stuff, and a lot of times they're cheaper than most places. So these, I bought these gigantic bags of these raw almonds, so they were $21, okay? But it's a lot cheaper. The size bag that I bought is a lot cheaper at the Indian grocer than it is at any of the markets. Whole Foods for sure, all the other markets, Acme. Go to an Indian grocer for spices, for nuts, for that kind of thing. They're awesome. I use Asian grocers, as you know, for great meat, pork, beef, seafood is awesome. So, yes, Lynn.
We've got several people with you already.
Fantastic.
Got Antonio Colombo and Paul Taboni.
Hey, Paul, missed you, buddy.
Yeah. Louis Hanna. Antonio came back with Tell Him from the Grave, said, keep this thing going.
Fantastic.
I also see that Marita Lynn is with us.
Hi.
Hello. And
Chef Marita.
And Sam Mann.
All right, Sam Mann, my buddy. We need a little background music, some, stuff that I don't have to pay the royalties for. Otherwise, I'd be blasting the Grateful Dead. You know it, my brother. Anyway, so we need to get to this. So I'll get back to the guys that are viewing, the ladies. So what I have in this measuring cup is 1.5 cups of fresh squeezed lime juice and 1.5 cups of agave nectar. I've mixed it up, and I'm basically just going to pour it over the cashews. And because these are raw cashews, they are going to soften, and they are going to soak up all the flavor of the lime juice and the agave nectar. So already we're talking flavor combinations, right? We're talking sour, we're talking sweet. Those flavors dance on your tongue. It's a great eating experience. So we're going to let this just marinate. I'll mix them up once or twice maybe, but there's really not a whole lot you need to do. You let them sit for a half an hour, and that's what we're going to do. Marinate. All right, next thing I want to do is we're doing a spiced olives. So I go to the market, I buy olives, and I always look for the olives with the pits in them when I'm doing something like this, a spiced olive mix. So we're going to get right to that because we got to cook that marinade. And of course, I already have one done. So what this marinade is, it's very simple. Simple ingredients. Today, you know, last week was a logistical challenge. I think we pulled it off. This week, not so much. This is for some easy, quick things that you can do for your party. Cup of olive oil goes right in the pan. Okay. To that, I have my spices and some aromatics. So we are putting in a couple of bay leaves. If you have fresh bay leaves, use them. I didn't, so I've got these. We call them dry bay leaves, but again, I buy these from an Asian market or actually the Indian market, and they're absolutely dry, but they're pliable, not like the stuff you get in a regular supermarket. So I have three-inch strips of orange zest. Just the zest, none of the white. We're going to throw that in. I have 2 lemon zest, 2-inch pieces.
How do you get the zest to come off so cleanly with...
I use a potato peeler or a vegetable peeler, which something similar to this. But I have a this is a newfangled plastic one. I have an old aluminum one that I love very much. Gets it really close. All right. So we have the orange, we have the lemon zest, we have the bay leaves, we have the olive oil. Next, everyone's favorite ingredient, garlic. We are going to simply cut this head of garlic in half. You've seen this technique, I'm sure, because you know when you roast garlic, you can do this too. Cut it in half, and what I like to do is the bottom part, you get that a lot of the papery skin. I like to pull it off as much as I can. All right, so that's about it. And what I want to do is I want to put these face down in the oil. Face down, face down. And now what we're going to do is this goes on the stove, pretty low. You know, you want to cook it for about 20-25 minutes until the garlic starts to brown a little bit. So you don't want to like deep fry it or anything. I'm going to put it on the back burner. So I'm putting mine like right on like a simmer, maybe a little higher until I hear it starting to bubble. All right. So after, we're going to fast forward a little bit. After the marinade is done, the garlic is a little bit brown. What you want to do is you want to take the garlic out. And I've done that. And it's funny because I had a laugh. I actually saw a recipe that suggested that you discard the garlic. Do not discard this garlic. This is like gold right here. And I'm going to show it to you. You can see that the garlic is beautifully brown. It's sweet. It's soft. I just put it in a container. I'll put it in my fridge, and I guarantee you I will find a use for it. And you should too. So we try not to let anything go to waste. Not a thing. And that runs across almost all the recipes we're doing tonight. You get kind of byproducts from it. So you get the roasted garlic or the fried garlic. What you also get, I'm going to show you. Remember that lime and agave nectar marinade for the cashews? We're going to strain these cashews out, and do not, I repeat, I forbid you, Mr. Grateful, I forbid you for dumping that down the drain because it's awesome. Right here, I'm drinking a 50-50 blend of that marinade for the cashews. Now, of course, you got to be careful not to give it to people that might have a nut allergy, you know, because, you know, cashews have soaked in it. 50% of that nectar and lime juice mix, 50% water, a little bit of ice, awesome limeade. Do not let that go to waste. So here's another byproduct of these recipes.
So we also have tonight, we've got Ms. Swapna.
Hi, Swapna.
Anthony Lopinto.
Anthony, chef.
Go Aaron.
Always love my chef friends coming on and offering me their support. I love it. So the next step while we're on the olives. Here I have about 3 cups of olives. Again, I tried to find, you know, small olives, big olives, whatever had the pit, that's what I want. You don't really want to use like a stuffed olive for this. You don't want to use a pitted olive. So I have 3 different kinds. I've got black Cerignola. I have a Italian, I honestly don't remember which one. I have a Kalamata with the pits in them. So we're going to take that marinade, and here it is. Now I have taken, of course, the garlic out of it. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see that without me dumping it all over the place. Okay, and you can see that the lemon peel and the orange peel have darkened quite a bit. This oil in here is highly seasoned. And I will tell you, the recipe calls for a cup. If you feel like you're doing a big jar or something like this, that you need a little bit more olive oil, just add it in at the end. It's not a big deal. So we're basically going to, what I want to do is I want to put my spices in first. So those spices that I ground up are coriander seed and fennel seed. All right, so I just grind them up. I toasted them first, ground them up. They're going in. Some chili flake. Just not too much. You don't really want them to be too spicy, but you want people to know that it's there. And then you're going to pour your marinade right over. And, you know, it's going to be warm because what we've done is we've cooked it till the garlic is brown. We took the garlic out.
Save the garlic.
Save the garlic. And this is starting to pop over here, so I'm going to lower it down. And you let before you take the garlic out, you let it steep for another hour. Just take it off the fire and let it sit there. You're going to get all that flavor. Then you're going to take the garlic out, and we're going to be at the point where we're at now. So I'm going to put the cover on here so I can shake around, distribute all the spices. And you can see, just like that.
Spice everywhere.
Spices everywhere. This is going to sit on your counter, room temperature, for 2 hours before they're ready. Obviously, olives are already brined. You could eat them right now, but they really will infuse with all the flavors that we've just added. So for 2 hours on your counter, at room temperature, and then we can put them right into the refrigerator, and they'll keep for weeks.
So you don't take the oil off or anything else?
Nope.
You just keep them out.
And it's real important for olives and stuff that are pickled. When you do put them in a jar, you want everything covered with the oil. So
we
that's good to go.
Yeah, we also have
my
sister Karen with us tonight.
Hello, Karen.
And Peter Kunicki Jr.
Okay. Hi, Pete. Next, we're moving along.
You're moving right along fast.
Fantastic. All right, so our next exciting dish are dates. We're going to stuff these beautiful dates. Again, the Indian market, an amazing source for beautiful dates. If you don't think you like dates, go to a Middle Eastern or an Indian market. They're beautiful, they're plump, they're pliable, they're sweet. They're just an amazing product. They have not been sitting on a supermarket shelf for 6 months. I guarantee you. Anything that is a staple for like in Indian cooking, go to an Indian grocer for it because they're amazing. The produce is amazing too. Anyway, I digress. So what we're going to do is we are going to stuff these dates with the king of all cheese, the Reggiano Parmesan. And it's really easy to do. So I'm going to just cut off a nice slab, like so. And then I'm going to cut little matchsticks. I think I got about a dozen of them here that we're going to do. Done a whole bunch of them for a party that we're having here with my culinary club. So when they pit these, and it's important that you buy the ones that are pitted, there's 2 methods that they use. One method is they cut a slit down the side. I want you guys to see that. So when you kind of pinch the ends, it opens up like that. Okay? This is the one method that they use to pit the dates. Just wrap the cheese around it, close it back up, and there you got a stuffed date. The other method is they actually almost like an olive pitter where they push the pit from the top, they push it through the bottom, and you got a hole on either side. And in that case, you can literally just take the cheese and slip it in the hole, and that's it. But these dates I have are slit, so we are gonna stuff these up. And I recommend when you're doing a lot of these, stuff them all and then wrap them all instead of stuff and then wrap and stuff and wrap. It'll go a little bit quicker for you. And you don't have to be super neat about this process of filling them. Sometimes it is difficult to find where it's cut. Just keep at it and you'll find it. And again, it doesn't have to look pretty because we're wrapping them in bacon, and anything wrapped in bacon automatically looks pretty.
And tastes good.
See, it's easy. You know, it's not rocket science. So I'm going to move through this as quickly as possible. Well, this one's being ornery. Here it is.
So with your olives, Paul Taboni asked if you could ship them on down to him. He'll PM you his address.
Yeah. And you'll review them, I'm sure.
So I told Paul that he could make his own.
Oh, they're so easy. It's just, you know, when you're entertaining for the holidays and you're feeding a lot of people and stuff like that, you know, you don't want to make too much of a to-do about it. You know, you want recipes that are good, recipes that are tasty, the recipes that people are going to talk about, like wow. Like these, let me tell you something. These dates, you know, a lot of people wrap dates in bacon, but to stuff them with the Parmesan, again, we're talking flavor combination, sweet, salty.
They're outstanding.
And then the smoky. Yeah, this is the thing that people want, you know, keep coming and asking for me to make, you know, when they invite me over. So, all right, so we've got them all stuffed. Goes pretty quick.
We also have Lisa Lindo Trike with us tonight.
Hello, Lisa. Welcome back again. Grateful that you are here, as always. All right, we're moving on to bacon.
You want to check the oven? Or do you think you're okay?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay.
I don't smell it.
Oh,
Cook with your nose. The bacon you want to use for this is a thin sliced bacon. You don't want it to be too thick. And basically what we are going to do is take off a piece. I'm putting it on my board, and what I like to do is just flatten it out a little bit because that gives you a little bit more length. So I'm going to take I use my knife to help me lift it up. So basically we are going to wrap it around like 1.5 times. Like that. Cut it. Put it on our tray, seam side down. Simple as that.
That is so much easier than the last time I did it with you.
I think I'm going to get probably 3 or 4 dates out of a slice of bacon. So, yeah, you're not looking necessarily when you cook these, you're not looking to melt the cheese. You're really just crisping up the bacon. That is what you're doing. It also will help is when you're rolling these things, and can they see it? You want to do a little bit of a close-up?
Yeah. I'm going to tilt you guys down and then go close up.
It helps if you pull back on the bacon a little bit when you're rolling, it thins out. Hey Google, stop the timer. That is the timer for, and I smell bacon. Let's see what we got here. Oh, hello. All right.
Patty Wapp asked, can you make these a day or two ahead of time?
You can. You absolutely can make them a day or two ahead of time. That is a yes, in case you didn't hear me. Yeah, you can definitely make them ahead of time. We're doing a party on Saturday. While I was doing today's prep, I also prepped for the party. So, absolutely. Just keep them refrigerated, covered well. It's all good. One good thing about winter here in New Jersey, you suddenly gain the world's largest refrigerator. It's an awesome thing. All right, so we need another strip of bacon. Be just fine. Again, I'm laying it on my board, and I'm going to just flatten it out, give you a little bit more real estate. Roll it up, turn it in half, cut it off. Nice. Roll, roll, roll. All right. And a couple more, we're done.
Nino Nino from Gary said, hey, bring some over.
Who?
Nino from Gary.
Oh, hey, Nino. Thanks for joining me, buddy. Nino is... Let me tell you a little bit about Nino. He is a phenomenal cheesemonger at a store, a local regional store here in New Jersey called Gary's Wine Market. And let me tell you something, the knowledge that pours out of him and his buddy Andrew over there is just phenomenal. So yeah, we go see him and eat cheese. It's fun. We'll be back on Friday to choose some meats. I'll have to call you with that order because I'm going to do some meat on a cheese board for the party. All right, we're down to the last two. You can see it goes pretty quickly. Boom, boom, boom. I'm not going to cook these because I'm going to save them for
The party?
the party. There you go. These are going to go right in the fridge. Fantastic.
Ken Winder says, I like bacon. I told him that I loved bacon.
I love bacon. Bacon's awesome. All right, next item here. We're going to go talk cheese tray. How about that? Let me just make sure my marinade isn't going too quickly. I'll turn it right down to a simmer. Going to go for about 20 minutes. Okay.
You coming over here?
Going right over here. Our crack camera woman, producer, wind beneath my wings.
Camera mover.
Camera mover. All right. Cheese boards. Cheese boards are awesome. And I'll tell you why I like cheese boards, because it gives me a blank canvas for creativity. I go to see Nino and I get amazing cheeses. I have a relationship with Jonathan White, Bobolink Dairy makes amazing cheeses. I just it's just, again, it's like a blank canvas for artwork. Yes.
Just so I don't forget, Michael Close asked, back to your bacon wrap dates.
Yes.
Can you pre-cook the bacon and then wrap? I seem to always overcook the bacon when I start cooking from raw.
I would not suggest doing that. It's not necessary. I wrap these. If you got it, the key is to use thin bacon. I will tell you what I used. I'm not endorsed by any brand. I'm sure they'd be happy to hear that I'm talking about them, and I don't usually use the product from Oscar Mayer. However, when I am doing something that requires thin bacon, if I can't go to my local pork store and get them to slice it for me thin, this is a little bit too smoky for me, I think. I'm buying their natural wood bacon. It's nice and thin. And when you lay it down on the countertop like that, when you push it down and you do 1.5 wraps, that's it. In 20 minutes, I got crisp bacon. So I think I did a post on the group of breakfast that I made when my parents were in town from Florida with bacon. That's what it was. It was the Oscar Mayer bacon. It was absolutely beautiful. So.
And we also have Sabrina with us tonight.
Hi, Sabrina. We miss you. Sabrina was supposed to come, but sometimes babysitters are not the most reliable things. Now are they, honey? But we do miss you, Sabrina. Anyway, back to cheese board. So I love there's a million different things you can do. So I kind of laid out here some of the things, and it all depends on how many people you have, how many cheeses, how many meats. That all depends on what apparatus you're going to use. So there's, this is very popular, a slate board. It's a nice one, 2 handles. I love it. This is a lot of times our go-to. You can draw on it with a piece of chalk if you want. What you got on there. You can use different cheese markers. Tooling around, home goods. You find stuff like this really inexpensive and cheap. So if depending on what you're doing, do a nice long, couple of cheeses on here. You've got bigger boards.
Also cheap at Home Goods.
Also cheap at Home Goods. Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. So if you're feeding more people, I bought these online, which are pretty cool. These are parchment paper but they are leaves. So you can do it, you know, do a nice cheese board like this and just put a cheese on each one. Something like that, if that's not too cheesy for you. That was a joke. Anyway, so also there are the classic, I bought this at the thrift store for I think $6. Classic mirrored tray. You can do it on that. You put that over here because I'm sure that's like right in your face. This, I believe they sell at Gary's. And this is a marble, round, beautiful. We got it as a housewarming present. Again, whatever, you know, use a size that's appropriate for who you're trying to feed. We're going to be a little inappropriate tonight because it's only Lynn and I, but I'm going to use the slate because I love it. Keeps the cheeses a little bit colder, cooler. It's really nice. So I'm going to put that over there. I want to also discuss different tools for cutting. So here I got a beautiful,
I'm gonna come in a little closer, huh?
you know, this is yeah, please do. So this is a nice little, it's fruit knives, but I use them for my cheese board. They're really elegant and really nice. And then over the years, I've collected a bag of all sorts of different things. Again, thrift store stuff. You buy them for cheap. I've got, you know, special forks and little tongs for picking up cubes of cheese. And you've got little spoons and forks for like the honey and the mustard and all that stuff. So I've collected these over time, and I've got some pretty cool. Here's a mother of pearl handle. I'm assuming sterling silver. You know, I just throw them in a bag, and you know what? I find a use for them. Long forks, short forks. They're, you know, really, sky's the limit. Little knives like this, you know, all come in handy. So, start your own collection. Cheese is amazing and deserves the respect of silverware. That's what I think. Anyway, all right, so I would be remiss if I did not talk about these. These are beautiful Lynn, our videographer and Wind Beneath My Wings, made these herself. And basically, if you have, you can put the name of the cheese on a card and hold it like that. How wonderful is that? She bought some, are these silver?
Those are silver.
Silver.
Silver, probably silver plate, something or other.
Again, thrift store.
Oh yeah.
Antique market, cheap. And she took a pair of pliers and bent them up, and there you go. Do it yourself.
I like the other ones better.
And then these we were given as a housewarming present.
My inspiration for the others.
Made out of a fork. They bend it in a certain way. You put the card in there. It's pretty cool. There's a million things you can do. I have some ceramic ones that you can actually stick into the cheese and write on it with a dry erase board. So pretty cool. Let's get building our cheese board, shall we? Yes.
All right.
We're going to build a quick cheese board, and then...
So I'm going to take them for a walk as you prep.
And then we are going to get the cashews going. We're going to be done. All right, so... what I do when I go in and see Nino at the Gary's, and you should do it wherever you buy cheese, find a decent cheese counter. I know that supermarkets have kind of upped their game a little bit, but they're not as knowledgeable, in my opinion, as going to like a place like Gary's. They're known for their cheese, but find a cheesemonger that can take some basic information from you, like what kind of cheese do you like, what are you looking for, what the characteristics, and they can guide you through the process.
And let you taste.
Yeah, and then you can taste. And this is what I've done. You know, we go to Nino and I say, you know what, I want one creamy cheese, one blue veined cheese, one cheese for chunking, and he always throws in something else in the mix. You got to try this one, you got to try that. We learn something new, and we get a new cheese. It's awesome. So I like variety on my cheese board. So this is, see if I get the names right, and I don't mind that I don't know how to speak French.
Cheese.
And so this is the Grand Noir, okay? So we're going to cut a little piece for us. This is and maybe Nino can chime in if he is so inclined. But this is a nice soft blue veined cheese. It is in wax. This is a nice big piece, way much more than Lynn and I are going to eat tonight, so I'm going to cut it down even further. A nice little wedge. Do it on my board. And now I've taken these cheeses out. You want the cheese at room temperature. So I'm going to put that right in the corner. You can see it's got a beautiful blue vein. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a nice soft cheese. Put this back somehow, like that. And if you notice, this cheese is wrapped in wax paper. It should not be vacuum sealed. It should, if you don't have wax paper, use parchment paper. Cheese needs to breathe a little bit. And don't worry if you got to cut some pieces off. You know, cheese has mold sometimes, you know.
Jay says, that's cheesy.
Thank you, Jay. All right, now this cheese. It's another one from, no, this is actually from Jonathan White at Bobolink Dairy. This is their Botolino. Botolino, it is cured in the must that is used in making Pinot Noir wine. So you can see it actually has the must still on it, the grapes. It is amazing. Pretty potent cheese.
It is very potent cheese.
So I'm going to cut us a little tiny wedge.
I would say cut enough that you'll eat it.
Okay, it's a little strong for Lynn. So I'm going to cut just a little piece, just like that. And this is phenomenal. One of the great things that Lynn and I went to Barcelona, and one of the most amazing cheeses I've ever had was this little wine shop. And what they did a little experimentation, and they took an entire wheel of blue cheese and they vacuum sealed it. But before they vacuum sealed it, they poured in an entire bottle of Sauterne, I believe, and they let it sit vacuum sealed in Sauterne for like 4 months. Talk about mind blowing. It was awesome. All right, this is one of our kind of it's more of a standard kind of cheese. It's Old Amsterdam. It's an aged Gouda, I believe.
This is actually the cheese that got me into cheese.
It's the cheese that got Lynn into cheese. It isn't easy being cheesy. This is a little special cheese knife I got at Gary's Wine Marketplace, Bernardsville, New Jersey. Okay, again, I'm going to cut the cheese right on camera. All right, that was cheesy. One thing I want to mention, what I like to do is if I'm serving a crowd, and I'm going to take this whole chunk of cheddar and put it on a big cheese board, I like to cut some of it up because then people are more apt to go at it. Sometimes people are afraid to make the first cut and cut, and mess up the beautiful cheese board. But if you have a couple of pieces out, cut up, they'll go for it like nothing, like nobody's business. All right, next cheese, another Bobolink Dairy. This is their 5-year, 5-year reserve cheddar. And this is all made from, local Jonathan's dairy cows. I can cut a little piece like that. Again, way more than we need tonight. So I'm just going to cut a little piece. Going to get that on the board. And this is a cheese where it will chunk. So what I usually do is I'll take my knife and just stick it in and twist. Can you get that, Lynn?
Oh yeah. I shouldn't say much to it.
Okay. All right. So this is what so you have a nice pile of chunked cheese ready for your guests to take. It's a beautiful thing. That's all the cheese we're going to do tonight on this cheese board. I want to show you this gadget. I got it. It does not seem to work very well. This, I guess, on hard cheese. You can do some slices. It's kind of little Betty Crocker for me, but I guess it works. Slice of hard cheese. Now, what goes with cheese?
Crackers?
Crackers, yeah. We'll get to the crackers. Some people like, I'm going to turn marinate off. Let that steep. Some people like, you know, mustard. Some people like, you know, different kinds of mustard. People like sweet. Here's some of the cashews that we're going to be making. You know, here I made a bunch because I'm doing them for a party. I'm going to put them right down on the board, and look at these beautiful cashews. Can you see that? Beautiful, salty, sweet, crunchy, luscious. Put those on. Now, people might not know this, but chocolate goes very well with cheese. Nuts goes very well with cheese too. So these are little cocoa coated almonds. I'm going to put some of those down. You know, people can just pick and eat as they eat the cheese. Here's a little bit of truffle honey. This is most cheese places and higher end supermarkets are going to have this. It's pretty potent. It has a little piece of a black truffle in there. I'm just going to take some of it out, put it in a little dish.
Which of those cheeses does that truffle honey go with?
I love truffle honey with blue cheese, with blue veined cheese. It's phenomenal.
Mark Sennett thinks chocolate goes with everything.
I agree.
So does bacon. So bacon and chocolate together.
Mm-hmm.
Also good.
Okay, I also love cornichons. Cornichons are a small brined pickle. They're not sweet. They're not those sweet gherkin things. These happen to be a spicy variety, and I just love them. You get that little, they're very, very vinegary, so you get that punch, and I love it. We got those cornichons. This is a great brand also. They also make great mustard, which we're going to use here. We have some whole grain mustard. Another spoon.
While you're doing that, Michael Trainer.
Hi, Michael.
Our Mike. Tell
Hello, Mike.
Tell Nino he doesn't know it yet, but he's my new BFF. I'm held captive in the Asian household with no smelly cheese allowed.
Oh.
My fix.
Whoa.
I'm due for a cheese binge.
Take a step back on that no smelly cheese allowed. The stuff that I had at the restaurant the other night, you warned me. You warned me. It was pretty stinky. I'm a little surprised that Palais does not allow stinky cheese.
Bobby Thomas is with us.
Hi, Bobby. All right, so what we're going to do here is, real quick, because I got to get to these cashews. You got to see how these work. This is the last tiny bit of my Iberico pork from Spain that we are going to add to this cheese tray. It's 100% acorn fed pata negra, and it is awesome. I hate to see it go, but what better occasion than dinner with Lynn and all of you. I'm going to cut it real thin. I don't have a meat slicer. This is going to be very good with this cheese. This cheese board is our dinner.
And Nino said we should add grapes.
Good idea.
We don't have any.
Bring some over.
Bring us some grapes.
Yeah, I definitely, a fresh, juicy fruit is absolutely, you know, way to go.
But we do have the juicy, dried cranberries.
Yeah. So here's the pata negra. We're going to put that on. And so you can see pretty much that this didn't take a lot of time. Get an education and a relationship with the cheesemonger. Make your selection easy. You know, we go in there and every time we get different cheeses, we always say, okay, well, last time we liked this. What else do you have that's kind of like that? You know, there's some cheese that have little crystals in it, like Reggiano Parmesan. You know, a good cheesemonger, like Nino, will direct you in the direction you want to go. So I'm going to put this down here. We're going to get to these cashews, honey.
I'm going to move this back. I just want to give them a nice shot.
Yes. Crackers. Let's just talk crackers real quick.
Our lovely cheese board.
I'm going to throw them into the mix. There's a million different kinds, with fruit, with nuts, with seeds, thin, thick, whatever your palate likes. a stronger cheese, go to, you know, like the blue cheese. I love the one with the nuts and the fruit in it. Works out really, really well. So, but you know, it's just like learning how to enjoy wine. You know, it's all experimental. So find out what you like and go do that. All right, cashews, real quick, marinated in lime juice and agave nectar for 30 minutes. I'm going to walk them over to the sink. Actually, I'm going to walk the sink over to here. So Lynn doesn't have to move the camera again.
Thank you.
And we are going to strain off the liquid. Yes. Nice. Get that. Remember that gold. We're making drinks out of that. Excuse my back and the noise. Yeah, we're making drinks. We're making limeade out of that. It's beautiful. So we'll be able to strain all that liquid out. Nice. And you can see, I don't know if you can, but these are much softer. Not soft, but if I taste one, you can taste that the lime juice kind of permeated, and that's really good. So, again, this will be for later. And put it back in my container. Next thing we're going to do, half a cup of sugar, 3/4 of a cup of sugar. We'll put a little bit on.
No wonder I love those things.
Mix it around. If you want to coat it in the sugar, let me turn my oil up a little bit. So these things make a great gift. Like, you make a bunch of them, put them in a jar or a container, and you know, ribbons around them and all that good stuff for the holidays. People love this. They love getting, you know, stuff, especially if you've made it yourself. And this is not a difficult recipe. You can make it in quantity. You know, you'll fry these in a couple of batches. Okay. You basically want to get the sugar on each piece. Nice. Toss it around a little bit. There we go. And now we're just going to bring them over to the stove and we're going to fry them up. Gonna meet me over there, Lynn?
I do.
Fantastic. Okay. So my setup here, I just want you guys to see.
No, I'm not at the setup.
Okay.
I'm at the pan. Hold on. There we go.
So I have one pan here with paper towel. Once these come out of the oil, you're going to put them on the paper towel. But you don't want to leave them on there for too long because they'll stick to the paper towel. So,
And how did you figure that out?
well, we picked paper towel off of cashews for like an hour. So we're going to put them on. You just roll them around and whisk off some of the oil real quick. And then we're going to just put them on a regular tray. Then we're going to season them up with salt. And I'm going to use the cashew to check the oil. Not quite. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. You do have to be careful when you're deep frying nuts or cooking them in the oven or whatever, that once they start to turn like dark, they'll go real quick if you're not careful. So what we look for here is, yeah, it's almost there. What you're looking for is to get these, you know, you want to shoot for kind of a more than a golden brown. I'm going to show you while the oil's heating up what these look like. All right. So this is not a golden brown. That, you know, it candies. It gets a little bit darker. It's kind of like a dark caramel, almost a burnt sugar kind of flavor in the best possible way. So that's what you're looking for. So you're not looking for the same color as if you were like dry roasting them or anything. All right. Any questions or comments?
Late comment from Justice. He says, "Okay, I'm here. What did I miss?"
Okay, so Grateful Chef, take 2. Welcome, Justice. I'll fill you in later, buddy.
And
All right, so I'm getting some sound in here.
Yeah.
You know, they're starting to fry. So I'm going to put them in. You know, about half of them. We can do 2 batches. I'm probably not going to do 2 batches tonight because you know, your eyes will bleed from boredom. So we're just going to let this go. Watch it real carefully. The sugar is going to kind of get to that, they call it the crack ball stage, something like that. It's very technical. So we're going to just let this go. Maybe I'll cook these up later or tomorrow. We don't have to, just want you to get the basic technique. Turn it up. Yes, dear.
I didn't hear that. Paul Deboney asked earlier, and he was asking about maybe one of your next videos, if you could show how to do real authentic Jersey garlic knots.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me say it to you like this. I've never made garlic knots, but I sure can learn how. Yeah, I'm, you know, I don't know what it is. It's like baking, you know, I'm a chef, I'm not a baker. You know, we hear that a lot. So anything with dough that I have to make, I guess I could buy it, but, you know, like the puff pastry I bought last week, because who's crazy enough to make, I guess some people.
I think you should find, I love to bake, so, but I think you should find one of your chef buddies that knows how to make garlic knots.
That is a great idea.
And have them over.
Sure. So I want you guys to see this. I would love to touch the camera right now, but Lynn won't let me. Because I want to see. I want you to see what's happening over here.
I'm gonna come over.
With the.
Ted says, "Looks awesome. Must make."
Yeah.
And,
and again, this is, you make these in quantity.
We're not gonna stay long because it just. There we go. Sorry for the glare, guys. There you go.
All right, so you can see we're starting to get some color. That's what you want.
And it's starting to smell really good.
Yeah, it smells really nutty. You want to kind of stir them around so they brown evenly. You know, like you're not deep frying like 1,000 degrees here. It's probably about 325 maybe. Take your time, let it happen. Monitor your heat. So I am, let me talk a little bit about the Grateful Chef group. So I just opened the group up to a public group because I want to build more members. We've got just shy of 400 members. So as always, I'm going to ask that you, you know, now that we're an open group, share with your friends, let them know about these Facebook Lives every week, you know, be part of the Grateful Chef revolution here. And anybody that you know that likes to cook, you know, let's get them on board. Let's get them to join in and help build the Grateful Chef brand and get on my Instagram and my YouTube channel. And I'm real excited to where this can go. The sky's the limit. So while I've been talking, you know, if you want to bring the camera back here, Lynn, because I want you to see where we're at now. So these are nice brown. I'm going to turn them down because now when they're at this stage, they're going to start to happen real quick. See how dark those are? Let me grab my towel.
Actually, you can turn the light back on.
All right. And at this point, I'm going to move it over and I'm going to put them onto the pan over here. So again, these are going to be a little bit lighter than the last ones, which is okay. So you want to spread it out onto the paper towel. And again, we want to do it relatively quickly because we don't want these guys to stick. Inevitably, one or two will stick. Yeah, these look amazing. Guess I could use a more efficient scooper, but hey.
What kind of oil did you use?
I used peanut oil. Makes sense. We're cooking nuts, use a nut oil. All right, we've got them on. Now, I want you to be real careful because this is sugar, and sugar is like napalm. So I'm just giving a quick little roll like that, and then we're going to put them onto a cold sheet. So a couple stick like that, but trust me, if you leave them sit on there much longer, you're going to have a problem. I'm going to put these.
Did you answer the oil question?
Yep.
Okay.
It was peanut oil.
Yeah, I just black.
Again, peanut oil I buy at the Asian markets. It's a little more expensive than regular oil, but it's a key ingredient. All right, so here we have the cashews. They look awesome. And we're going to want to cool them down so they won't candy until they're cool. So this is where, you know, being the winter, I can just put them outside or put them in the garage or put them in your refrigerator, whatever you want to do. And then what you will get is,
Do they need salt?
yep, I'm going to salt them. Thank you, Lynn. I asked her to remind me because I forgot before. So this is Malden sea salt. You want something nice and flaky, and you want to put it on because what you're getting is that sweet and salty, like salted caramel kind of idea.
So, Patty Wapp asked a question earlier. Justice answered it, but I'm going to ask it again just for the sake of anybody else that's listening. And it says, why do chefs pour spices from up on high on the food? And, of course, Justice answered beautifully. He said, to get even coverage of the spice on your food item.
That is correct. Or, if you want to be funny about it, and I said this a couple weeks ago, it's so our food is always highly seasoned. That's why. But I like Justice's answer better. Yeah, it's just for even distribution. If you're down low, it's all clumping real close. If you're up high, you can spread it in like snowfall.
I tried it the other day and I made a complete mess.
Fantastic. All right. I think I'm going to cook these, but
No.
no. Okay. Producer said no. All right, so we are pretty much done. I want to plate up the delicious dates.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm back at the cutting board. I'm going to put them on a beautiful white plate, black plate, gray plate. How about a gray plate?
Great plate.
All right. So you can see here, these are delicious.
Mary McRae just came in and she's looking at our delicious stuff.
Hello, Mary. Gorgeous. Now some of them, like this guy popped open, the bacon was a little too thin. You're going to have casualties. This is real life cooking. This is what happens. This dish is really great because you're going to get the smoky bacon, crispy. You're getting the salty from the Reggiano Parmesan. All right, we're going to put this on there anyway because inevitably someone will eat it. What you can do is put toothpicks in them, you know, for your party. Lynn, would you like to try one of these?
Oh yeah, and
I'm going to try one right now.
and Justice has called you Salt Bay.
Salt Bay. This is like
Yeah.
like candy.
Okay, you all must make these.
Yeah.
If you don't like dates, make them anyway.
Yeah, if you don't like the cheese in it, just make them with bacon. Dates and bacon is awesome.
Oh.
You get this amazing smokiness. It's chewy like candy. And again, that salt kick at the end on the back of your tongue. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Real easy. You bring that to a party, you'll be invited back every single year, I promise. You know?
Delicious.
Yeah, that's it. So we've got this great cheese board. We've got the amazing dates.
The great
We've
cheese.
got
The great cheese board, crackers, dates.
we've got these awesome. You can see they're already starting to cool and clump together a little bit. Once they are completely cooled, they'll all be stuck in one big mass. You just kind of got to break them up with your hands. And again, I want to just show you what they look like. See, again, mine earlier today went a little darker, but you can hear them. They're like coated in candy. Delicious.
You know, so he's still at work, and he'd like you to bring him some.
I wish I could. So this is one really cool thing that you could serve like all these little appetizers on. This is from like the 1950s. You can do a couple of tiers. You can do olives. You can do, you know, the cashews. You can do the dates. You know, again, collected from the thrift store. It's awesome.
From Ted, awesome job.
Thank you. I'm going to try these olives. I know it's not been 2 hours, but.
Do you want to show me your Szechuan peppercorn?
Oh, but then they're going to want me to show them the secret recipe.
No, you can do that another time, but I thought it was worth a mention because I just really love it.
Okay.
And Nino's hungry now.
Garlic. All right, so I did make something today. Pretty phenomenal. That Lynn wants me to share. This isn't, you know, just because I can.
And I asked for it.
So this is peanut brittle. I'm a big fan. But this is made with Szechuan peppercorns. So you get this amazing, again, flavor combination of sweet and heat. And those who are not familiar with the Szechuan peppercorn, I will enlighten you.
And Mike wants to do an Uber Eats, and he'd like to get them to take the.
He wants me to come over and I'm going to
bring
show
him
you.
food.
Oh, and just opening this. Okay, I want to show you this. All right, so it's not really a peppercorn. It's a little bud from
Tip it a little more.
the prickly ash tree. These were banned in the U.S. for a little while until they decided that if they would heat treat them, then they could, you know, export them to the U.S. There is a great group of people. Started out as the Mala Project. You can find them online. Now they have the Mala Market, and they sell. They're what they believe are the first folks to legally import Szechuan peppercorns from China that have not been heat treated. And I can tell you that the difference between the heat treated Szechuan peppercorns and the non-heat treated ones blew my mind when I first got these. So they had a 3-pack. It was on sale from Gansu, China. It's amazing. And what you get from a Szechuan peppercorn, the term mala means hot and numbing. So the Szechuan peppercorn isn't so hot, like spicy hot. It's very aromatic, floral, and you get a numbing of the palate. So your mouth gets numb, the real potent, you know, your lips start to buzz, and usually they're incorporated in Szechuan cuisine. So you're not just eating them like popcorn. You'll get the numbing effect from the Szechuan peppercorn peanut brittle, but it's like in a Kung Pao chicken, the real Kung Pao chicken, Gong Bao Ji Ding. Chicken, garlic, Szechuan peppercorns, ginger, peanuts. There's no vegetables in it. So you get this numbing, but 5 minutes after you stop eating, it's gone. You know, it's an amazing sensation that is, to my knowledge, is not known to be prevalent in any other ingredient except for the Szechuan peppercorn. Really incredible.
Yeah, and what's cool is that it's used in a lot of Szechuan food where you described it as hot to me the first time.
Yeah.
It had a great spice. There was a little heat to it.
Yep.
But it was mostly the numbing flavor, numbing sensation that was fantastic.
Yes. And so,
is it time for me to eat dates?
we come to the end of another great show. We're so happy, and I am so grateful that you guys have joined me once again. If you're new, welcome. Please come back to next week. I don't know what we're doing yet, but I'll announce it on the group. Please, please, please ask your friends to join in on the fun. We are in this together. I am not alone. You are not alone. Any questions you have about cooking, please reach out to me. I love fielding cooking questions all day long. Happy to do it. So with that, thank you. Be grateful. Be kind. Eat well. Be well. And we'll see you next week on the next In the Kitchen with Eric, the Grateful Chef. Thank you so much. Peace.